One is Gongsun Zan, one as Sun Jian, which is a little bit easier, and then the hardest one, I'm going to be playing as Lu Bu, who has the highest war in the game, but is absolutely dreadful at everything else, and try to win with him. The first two will be in this first scenario. The third one will be in the second scenario. And also, the third reason I started that I thought to look up to see if anyone has Let's Played this game actually, is my brother that I used to play it with for years was playing it. He doesn't stream or anything, but he was playing it and texted me yesterday saying, "Hey, I've been playing this again," and told me about literally, I think, the craziest thing either of us have ever seen happen in it. Xiao Dun. Oh yeah, and for name pronunciations, most of them I'm getting from the Dynasty Warriors voiceovers, so they should be fairly accurate, although there's a few different spellings through the books and games and pronunciations over time. But I'm going mostly with the Dynasty Warriors ones, and a couple... that's where most of them come from, and a couple that I just kind of have always said. But Xiao Dun is one of Cao Cao's most loyal generals. And for the first time ever, we saw my brother yesterday texted me a story that when he was playing, Xiao Dun was governing one of the provinces owned by Cao Cao and turned against him and formed his own country. And I was like, what? So then that inspired me to look up AZN Lover 7. Well, and others, but his is the ones I watched the most of, playthroughs of it, and was like, you know what, I want to do a couple of those too. So I don't need to reward anyone. That's one good thing about Gongsun Zan. He only has one general, but it's a relative, so he's always loyal. The only way I can possibly lose him is if he gets captured. And then he may, sometimes even your relatives may not join back with you just because of the AI. But as long as they're with you, they will never turn on you. So, oh good, we can buy weapons first turn. Now obviously with this small group, I'm not going to be attacking for the first little while. This is going to be a building phase. And I'm also going to build the province a bit, because I'm still going to build what I have of an army first, in case anyone tries to attack me. Although usually I'm playing them all on the lowest difficulty, especially the Lu Bu one when it's time, just because it's so hard to actually keep anybody with him. But even on difficulty 1, the computer usually doesn't attack you if you're Gongsun Zan, as long as you build your stuff a little bit. I'm definitely going to ally with him because he's one of the threats to attack me. And if the other guys attack me, I can at least attempt to get help from him. And Liu Bei is usually pretty reliable, even in the computer. Yeah, there goes Lu Bu, who's a general for now it's Cao Cao, but Dong Zhuo. The reason, if you insist on having Lu Bu, as crappy as his charm and intelligence are, that you would want to play in the scenario where he's the ruler, is because in this scenario, he's only in the first two, because by the time of the third one, he is dead. The reason you want to do that is if you want to have Lu Bu on your team to make him the ruler as hard as it is because if you try to have him as a general, it does not matter who you are or how high his loyalty, he will turn on you. Period. If you bother to raise his loyalty to a max 100, he may not turn on you as quickly. They may have to bribe him a couple of times to do it. But really, at the end of the day, he's still going to turn on you eventually. So, I'm going to train my troops one more time. Not going to fully train them yet, only because I want to build my people's loyalty, the PL there. before the harvest, because if your people's loyalty is too low when you get when the harvests come in July, and then for rice, and then taxes for money in January. If your people's loyalty is too low when that happens, there's a strong chance that your populace will riot, which not only hurts the values of your province, like your land value and stuff, but also make you lose some of your people. And as you can see, I don't have a lot of population there. Only 1,000 to begin with, because it's not a tremendously big province. There are smaller ones in this northern area, especially, but we'll go 50 the first time. And then I'll do 80 so that I have enough for my 120 soldiers in case they attack me, because you want to have at least a full month's worth of rice, and you need one rice per troop for the month. That's essentially how it's done. Even though this one's the most niche, probably, other than the very original one, out of all the Romance of Three Kingdoms or Dynasty Warriors games, it's my favorite Romance of Three Kingdoms game. Because it's just complicated enough to feel like, yes, you're running an army, but it's a lot more simple because of the graphical limitations and stuff than the later ones. So it's a lot, I find it easier to follow along with. I may delve into 3 and 4 down the line, especially 3 because I've played that one the least, so it'd be kind of cool to actually play it in detail. But, awesome. They add, like for example, this one, it's people's loyalty, land value, flood control. Those are your 3 provincial stats to get the most out of the province. See what I mean? Lubu just jumping around. I don't know how much they expanded it in 3, but certainly by 4, because I played that one a bit with my brother. They've separated land and flood into more different subcategories, and it just gets really convoluted. And I just prefer keeping it simple. So the main thing that we're trying to do right now, playing with these guys, is we're trying to get through the first year because there's a general that eventually in the real stories, or as real as the legends and stories can be proven to be 2,000 years ago almost, who eventually ends up with Liu Bei there, the guy who's currently in Province 4. But he starts with Gongsun Zan, and he becomes available for me to search my province to find a new general for at the start of the year. And he's very good. He has 85 out of 100 intelligence, 99 war, and 92 charm. So I definitely want to find him. For now, because my troops are done training and I don't have a ton of money in rice yet, I'm just going to build my province a little bit. Now that does cost money, but there's some good tips and tricks for that. One good thing to know, flood control only affects your harvest in July. It does not matter what your flood control is for January taxes, only land value and people's loyalty matter for that. Or if flood control is a factor at all, it's a very, very minimal one. As far as my brother and I have figured out over the years and looked up in guides and stuff, it makes no difference for January, so I don't even need to build that right now, so that'll save me a bit of money. The good thing is Gongsun Yue and Gongsun Zan, neither of them are the best, but they're both decent. Gongsun Zan 70 or higher all the way across, so solid for a ruler. And Gongsun Yue, little on the lower intelligence side, but still close to 50, which isn't awful. Decent 60 through 60s in war and charm, and mid 60s in charm. So he's good enough to start with. which is all you really need, especially when you don't need to reward him. I didn't even comment on it. Wan Xiao already blocked me in 2, which wouldn't surprise me if he tries to attack me at some point. He's an asshole. So let's do this. One more time. 99. It can go to 100, but 99 is close enough. I'm not going to bother wasting another turn on that. I mean, eventually I might top it off just because, but when I'm doing in the process of actually doing it for leveling purposes, I'm not worried about it. So now we're gonna go flood. No, we're not gonna do flood control. I mean, we could, but actually, yeah, let's do a turn of flood control. Just to get that started, because we are going to want to build it, because even when we get the general I was talking about, who, as far as I know, according to, it's spelled Zhao, Z-H-A-O, and I may sometimes say that, but as far as I know, at least based on the Dynasty Warriors games where they have voiceover, it's pronounced Joe, interestingly enough. Haha. Also, Cao Cao's a dick too, even though he is my favorite color on the map. Sure, why not? I can always cancel the alliance before I invade them if I decide to. It's when I have more guys. Oh yeah, one of the other things. If you happen to be watching this because you know me or whatever, as opposed to because of the game itself, trust there on the far right. If you invade a guy you're allied with, that drops. If you try to capture somebody you're allied with, that drops. If you help someone attack, and the person you're fighting is not your ally, then it'll go up. Or if you help someone defend a country, it'll all go up. With the defending, even if you're allied with both of them, it'll still go up overall because you helped them defend. Because defending gets more credit than attacking generally. Probably didn't need that much rice for that, but well, I definitely didn't, but that's okay. Evened it up. Yeah, some weird shenanigans. Once you kind of know the not pattern, because obviously it's different AI characters will do different things every time. But once you know the pattern in terms of who's likely to do what, some kind of weird stuff will happen. The Cao Cao will fairly often attack Wan Xiao, but Wan Xiao will also fairly often attack him, or Hain Fu in 7, or Gong Rong in 8. Keep that away from me. Alright, so now, because we built our people's loyalty and land, you can see we got a decent amount of money, and we also, that's the other advantage to the tax time, is you gain new people for your province, like population-wise. We didn't find him. Might take a couple turns to find him, but he should be available now. I'm pretty sure it's after the first year. It might be 2 years, but I think it's 1. I'm pretty sure it's 1. It's been a while since I played the game, but Sun Jian invading Liu Yong with Wan Shu. And of course, unsurprisingly, they won, because Liu Yong's garbage except for one general, Tai Shi C. Or Tai Shi G. It's spelled CI, but in some of the games I heard them pronounce it with as a JI. Either way, Tai Shi G is the only good thing really he has going for him in 28 when he starts. There's also a handful of guys you can't play as in this game. You can't play as Kong Rong in 8. You can't play as Wang Lang in 24. And you can't play as Liu Yong in 28. I think those are the only 3 in this scenario. And maybe you can't play as Hain Fu either, but I think you can. I forget. But each scenario, each of the early scenarios, the first 2 or 3, there's usually at least one person you can't play as. So, since we've got everything the way we basically want it for now, there he is. Yeah. Yeah. Solid 82 loyalty, so I shouldn't lose him. Zhang He, that's another guy that turns on everybody. He turns on people slightly less often than Lu Bu, but not by much. Use a horse to reward him to full. Appoint him as my advisor. So to have someone be your advisor, they have to have at least 80 intelligence. The closer to 100 they are, obviously, the more reliable certain advice is. Some of the advice is general, you know, like just sayings. Some of it's related to the map, like Cao Cao's preparing to attack us. And then when you try to recruit people or search for just new generals and stuff, they give you a message if you have an advisor saying, kind of indicating the likelihood the thing you're doing will work. The higher their intelligence, the more often they're right. So Zhou Yun as an advisor isn't the best because he's on the lower end of who can be one, but he can be one. So we're definitely going to get him some weapons. And then Gongsun Yue can build. I'll just use 66 for now to even that up. Didn't do a ton because he's not that smart by himself, but it continued the process. Oh, Liang Gang. My strategy in this game, obviously you want to get the best generals you can as quick as you can. But one of my strategies in this game is to actually get kind of middle of the road generals, like 60s and 70s and stuff. And use that are good enough to like fight and stuff. And then take a couple of provinces using them to get the higher generals. Because a lot of the higher generals, other than searching for Zhou Yun, like, I cannot recruit Liu Bei. Liu Bei has the other 2 guys in the game who have 99 war by default. Good, that's moving away from me. I can't recruit them because they're forever loyal ones. I assume he's not going to drop. He generally doesn't. So I'm going to wait till harvest before I bother hiring any soldiers. So for now, I'm going to use everybody to build the province. Probably didn't need to use all that gold for that, but that's okay. Because once I get my rice harvest, I should get a decent amount. It's 10 gold to hire one soldier, but it's only 1 rice to hire 1 soldier, so as long as I keep an okay amount of rice, I can sell some of it and get more money that way. So one of the things to note, when you back somebody into a corner, like all the white provinces are empty, if I invade 2 and he goes and runs into 1, if I beat him down enough, I can threaten the ruler and basically turn him into a normal general who works for me. There are 3 rulers, Liu Bei, Cao Cao, and Sun Jian, and all of their sons who take over in later stuff, who will never agree to turn without some kind of cheat code, as far as I know. I have literally never seen it succeed, and as far as I've read up on it, it won't succeed, ever, period. But everyone else generally is fair game. Some are harder than others, like Dongzhuo or Wan Xiao. You really have to pretty much completely beat them down to nothing before they'll do it. But if I can do that with Wan Xiao, I'd like to, because he's a solid general. They're like 80 in war. I think he's got 70 or 80 charm and 60 or 70 intelligence. So he's pretty good. Province 7's built up its army. I sincerely doubt that. Close enough. Yeah, Zhou Yun usually doesn't drop as long as he's working for Gongsun Zan or Liu Bei. And even when he's working for people he hates, he doesn't usually drop as much as other people do. I guess he's kind of built up his army. But all his guys are disloyal as hell, so if he tries to attack me, I'll just bribe them away. Which I might even try to steal Xinping. I might even try to steal some of those really low guys that are only in the 50s, because they're not great, but they're easy to recruit, and it'll give me some bodies. Mostly to leave behind when I eventually invade with my 3 slightly better guys. Yeah, he's trash. I could just probably invade him and kick his ass, honestly. Which I probably will do, and I'll bribe a bunch of his people away when I do it. Love the music in this game. It's one of the reasons I love this version of the game the best, is like when I said the music and sound effects seem to be the most crisp and clean. And it's the one I've always played, so there's that too. Haha. I like when stuff affects Cao Cao. He's a dick. Alright, so we got our rice. 40 cost isn't terrible. So let's sell 438. Because I need to save some for actually attacking people, potentially. Gongsun Zan can hire the troops. And I'm just going to fill them. Now,